I'd like to welcome you guys to this week's report. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, and it's been another very windy week here in Southern California. The good news is wind is over. We should have nice weather Friday through all of next week. And we have the normal afternoon west wind in a few areas, especially outside, but for the most part, pretty standard. Looks great everywhere this weekend, so I hope that holds up. And rockfish is open. Today was the first day that any boats actually got out, even though the weather wasn't too hot. At least down here, it was blowing south most of the day. But yeah, good things. So should be a lot of good fishing opportunities this weekend. Before I get into anything else, I want to mention that I'm going to be saving my unsolicited advice for the end of the report. I had a commenter post last week that not everybody's interested in that, so good reason to make you guys that might be interested in it watch a little bit longer. So I invite you guys to stay to the end if you want that. Otherwise, enjoy the report. So we're going to start with the Channel Islands, which finally got some boats off the dock. Before the rockfish opener, though, I talked to Vince, who fished the Aloha Spirit, and they get halibut and sheephead fishing at Santa Cruz Island, so that's always an option. Depending on what's happening, some of the boats might do double duty kind of thing, might start shallow then fish deep, or vice versa. Some of the areas that these boats fish deep is pretty far away from the islands, so you're going to probably just be cod fishing, which is fine as well. But yeah, today the Aloha Spirit ran, and they had some really nice reds. Well, it looked okay. I'm sure it's going to be better this weekend, but I'd imagine most of the sport boats will be online, and private boaters expect other private boats out there to plan on fishing cod anywhere. If I were to go, I'd go somewhere far, probably Miguel, or maybe up to Hollister Ranch below Conception up there. And well, the fishing's not always better in those areas. You get further away from the other people, so you kind of have the zone to yourself, which is always nice. Not much coverage at the islands down this way, obviously, because of weather, but I'm sure there's a lot of trips online. The Eldorado out of Long Beach Sport Fishing will start running their San Nick trips, probably tonight, if not Saturday night, or Friday night. And Thunderbird's online to go fish Clemente. I saw that Jared on the Gale Force is trying to run his cod trips there, and hit some of his preferred spots. He just posted on Facebook. He's gonna take if you go out with him the next couple days, he's gonna take you to where he takes his friends. And I was assuming that was the bar, but it might just be there's really good rockfish spots. Along the beach, they're already fishing rockfish out the 14. I know the blackfish was out today. Freelance, some of the other boats, and they had some pictures of the normal standard rockfish you catch out in that zone, so it looks like that's biting as usual. The native sun is still going to be running their halibut trips, but they're going to add in some rock fishing afterwards, I think. They've been getting some nice halibut as well still, so that's going to keep happening here for a bit. And yeah, I fished Saturday. I mentioned I was going to go. We didn't launch till about, I don't know, 10 o'clock, and ran up to Palos Verdes, and it was oh, by the way, you know, I took my vinyl off my boat to have it redone. So we were just sitting on the aluminum frame of our seat with the life preservers as cushions, and that worked okay in the harbor. But once we got outside, boy, that did not work out so good. It was really stacked up, and the swell was big. I mean, we had uphill current. The swell at Furman and above Furman was probably 8 foot at like a 6-second interval. I mean, you got the gunboat, pull out gears, slam down. So we spent about 20 minutes out there and turned around. It was just miserable. There was no chance of catching a bass there. Went into the harbor, tried a few different areas, and didn't really catch anything in the outer harbor. And then went back to one of my spotted bay bass zones in the industrial harbor that had tons of bait there. We caught a couple spotties, had a few more bites, but amazing amount of bait back there, which is a good sign. Looked like large anchovies. Big balls, but all over the place. But yeah, not so great as far as that goes. The last report I had for up this way outside was Tom Troop was fishing not this weekend, but the weekend before, pre-fishing for the SPS tournament that's Saturday, and had really good sand bass fishing. A lot of big fish, but after a week of wind and storms here, I don't know how hot that bite's going to be. So it might be a tough tournament for the SPS guys. I don't know. What to see. Yeah, another bay bass news. San Diego Boy, I'm struggling today. Sorry. The San Diego Angling Club had their bay open, and Rick Max of Fisherman's Landing Tackle Shop, and also Let's Talk Hookup, and his wife Dallas won the tournament. Big bag of sand bass, which is cool to see. Good for them. That fishing down there, you know, if you get lousy weather or there's residual swell, you can always have fun fishing the bay down there. A lot of different options. I've done videos about how to find halibut in areas like that, and also targeting spotted bay bass, sand bass, all that in my SoCal Bight Fishing Academy episodes. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can look those up if you get bored. In other San Diego news, my friend Steve Duncan went back down over the weekend to see if he could repeat catching yellowtail, and he did. This time he caught 2. Nice fish off La Jolla. I'm suggesting he goes back down there this weekend and may catch 3 or 4. You know, just go 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, kind of just double it every time, be great. And hopefully that'll reflect on how the fishing is. But those fish are still around. The weekends are a little bit more crowded. I think he went during the week. Might be a good idea. The San Diego is going to be running to the Coronado Islands again this weekend, where they caught yellowtail last time they were out. Hopefully that's still happening or even improving a little bit. And the trips that went and looked for bluefin tuna over the last weekend, I think it was Polaris Supreme, didn't see anything, didn't catch anything. But there are more boats online, and they are going again this weekend. Multi-day trips, you know, overnight or day-and-a-half trips to 3-day trips. That area where they're looking is pretty far offshore, so I don't think the guys are going to be doing a combo trip of calling that and offshore on a day-and-a-half, maybe a 2-day or 2.5 day. But yeah, that's basically it. I wish I had more to report, but there's just not really been a whole lot of coverage this week. So let's talk about some unsolicited advice. So I was trying to figure out how to best give myself some credibility as someone who can speak to you guys about life. It's not related to fishing. And while a lot of you guys know me from fishing, there is a previous part of my life that I went through that kind of changed the way I thought about everything. And this advice is going to be financial and life advice, and I want to give some background as to why I'm giving it. Let me give you a bit of a backstory, I guess. When I was a kid, I was in grammar school, and I didn't really pay attention to school. It never interested me. I'm fairly intelligent, but school went slow for me, and you know, through high school, I just didn't pay attention because I didn't have to. Simple enough. You know, you sit in one class, do your homework for the next, or do your homework for the last class while your next class. But my parents saw that I probably wasn't going to go to college. My sister went to college to be a teacher, 2 years older than me. And my parents had worked in factories their whole life. They both came from Germany to the United States when they were young, and basically worked in factories and had a pretty horrible job. My mom started out stapling boxes shut in a glass factory, and worked every job in there until she eventually retired as one of the high executives in the company. But you know, that was a very lucky thing. You know, worked for the same company for 40 years and to make it that way. My dad, on the other hand, had he worked cutting and painting steel I-beams for buildings fabrication his entire life, which was a very difficult job, or his entire work life. So my parents' goal, as you know, I'm first generation, obviously, was that they didn't want me to work in a factory like they did, and if I had to work in a factory, it'd be a better factory job than they had. And I can understand that. So instead of sending me to high school, they sent me to Bosco Tech up in Rosemead, which is a trade school where you go for 5 years, you get out with associate's degree, whatever trade you take. I took printing. Because when you're 13 years old, you're deciding your life course. Printing sounds a lot more fun than working in electronics or whatever else at the time. So after having it decided for me that that was what I was going to do the rest of my life, when I was in 7th grade or early 8th grade. I went that course, and I didn't like it. I never liked it. So I always thought that, hey, I can get a better job, take on more responsibility, make more money, and that'll make the job better. So, I started in printing when I was, 14, and got out of it altogether when I was 38. Quit completely. I'd had every job in the industry, basically. And what I realized was that I was chasing something that I had no interest in catching. You talk about the old the carrot in front of the donkey is trying to go catch it, but at a certain point you realize you don't even like carrots and you don't want to eat that. And it's very easy to make mistakes that will force you to have to continue to do what you don't like to do just to support the decisions you made out of unhappiness. So what I want to say is if Sunday evening is your least favorite day of the week because it's coming Monday, or if you are counting the days to your next vacation every year, you should probably reconsider what you're doing for a living. And I know that a lot of us can't do it, but I think younger people can, and it might be helpful for them. So I made a couple notes. Yeah, so this is what I learned. This is what I'm sharing with you guys here. Gauge your income to the lifestyle you want to live. And once you achieve that, stop trying to make more money just for the sake of making more money. That sounds very simplified, but it's the absolute truth. I am friends with people from the very poor to the very rich. And I know a good enough amount of most of them that I could kind of get a reading on it. And being rich will not make you happy as a person. No matter how rich you are, if you're not happy, you're not going to be happy rich. You're just going to have more expensive unhappiness. So that's really the whole thing here. And for myself, for example, I was, working. The printing industry was changing due to the internet and the availability of people dealing directly with printing companies. I used to be a print broker towards the end. I did a lot of work overseas. We would sell printing here in the United States. We'd print in South Korea, other countries, South America, and also Vietnam, and resell it over here. That was the thing we were doing. And that was very profitable for the business owner. And the problem is that once the internet got far enough, those companies that we were dealing with went directly to the client. Kind of made that go away. At the same time, the mom and pop printing shops around town were going away and getting sold to bigger companies. And the industry was changing, and I was no longer happy in it. So my wife convinced me, we'd been married a year, to quit my job and start over. And I looked for a number of things to try and do. I even signed up for an online college to try and get a degree to teach math. My sister's a teacher, and she's suggested they need math teachers. I'm pretty good at math. Ended up not working out, but while this was all going on, we were struggling mightily financially, but I was getting a few side jobs here and there. My mother was a volunteer at a church in South Central as their bookkeeper, and she was going on vacation. And I don't know if you guys are Catholic or not, but the pastor of the church at that time was Bishop Dave O'Connell. He was still a priest. He was the one who was murdered a couple of years ago. Close friend of our family, and actually murdered by my maintenance guy and his former maintenance guy. Nothing to do with me, but anyway, that side note. So while I wasn't working, I went to cover for at the church, the volunteer, for a few weeks. She came back and said, well, you did a great job. The church where you went to school, a Catholic school in Downey, needs a business manager. Why don't you go and talk to them? So I talked to them. They said, yeah, we just had to get rid of the last guy, paid him off. We don't have any money, blah, blah, blah. So I went in and said, I got nothing else to do. I'll work for free till the end of the year or until I find another job. And if I still am not working and I like it, I'll start getting paid in January. This was, October or whatever. And that turned into a true calling for me that I've done now for 15 years. and I'm not the same church anymore. I ran two for a while before COVID. But the example of that is having two jobs. I had one job, I needed some extra money. Instead of trying to make more money at the first job, I took on a second job. And that's really the trick to financial independence, is to have multiple streams of income. You know, you want to have a first job, a second job, maybe a little side hustle, and maybe an investment, you know. So if you have extra money invested, that's passive income. That way you're not so reliant on any one job. You can do whatever you want, and if you lose one of them, it's not the end of the world. But I'm getting pretty far off track here. But you know, what I was saying about the financial stuff is, once you reach a certain level of lifestyle that you're comfortable with, having an extra $500 a month is not worth the effort that it takes to earn that if it's difficult and you don't like it. It's not going to change your life. What's going to convince you to do is, hey, let me buy that new truck and do that now. That extra $500 you had every month is now a $500 car payment, or whatever. Now you have to make that. So think about it. Everybody's situation is different. You know, you got kids, want to save for college. If you're a family, you're paying your bills, paying your mortgage or rent, putting away money for retirement, putting away money for your kids to go to college, whatever that is, and you know how much money that is. Once you make that, stop worrying about making more money and just enjoy that. You'll be a lot happier. I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now, and not just working at the church or doing writing or video. It's the fact that I've chosen a lifestyle that I like, that when it's time to go on vacation, my wife basically has to drag me out of the house to get my fingernails dug into the floor because I don't want to leave. It's as simple as that. So there you go. I'm giving you a long backstory today because I'll be talking about other things. I'm going to rely on this backstory for future advice, but hope you like it. And if you don't, thanks for watching. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and good luck if you fish.